aiming, one of the most core features of any FPS game. This skill is so important that we are going to spend 1 week grinding, labbing, and sitting only to train our aim. And we'll tell you what, if this video gets 100 likes, we'll do the same thing on controller. Anyway, here's how it went.
So I first heard about aim labs from some people who really enjoyed first-person shooter games.
Stop it! Stop it!
Describing how it improved their gaming performance as they're playing FPS shooters. My brother and I decided to install aim labs to see what all the fuss was about. So here's my experience. We both wanted to jump straight into the game, but we didn't know that we had to make an account first. After creating our accounts, we were given an offer for a premium membership on Aim Labs. Just another reminder that says that people really do take their FPS shooters seriously. After rejecting the premium offer, I was thrown straight into the main menu where I was speechless by the amount of activity that you can do within Aim Labs. I didn't know what to do at first, but then I saw a training section and immediately went over there. I went to the tapping program to train there first, and within the first mission, I already saw that there was a lot to improve on. I was confused because among my other skills, my tap game was usually peak. Then I remembered that all good gamers go into their settings, and boy, were there settings. Wonder what settings there are. Oh my goodness. After adjusting my settings and improving on my accuracy, I moved on to the tracking program to work on my tracking. And let's just say that tracking's not really my strong suit. Oh wait, alright, this is a lot harder than I thought. Yes, there were some easy missions, and yes, there were some hard missions, but ultimately, I think I was getting better at it as a whole. Aim Labs was even giving me tips on how to improve, so that was nice. I then started to notice that the missions were increasing in difficulty, forcing me to adapt. With the targets starting to become smaller, faster, and sporadic, it was pushing me to see what my limits truly were. Some missions felt like it skipped training, it just jumped straight to devious. All in all, I made a lot of good progress. I then decided to switch up to the switching program to see what my capabilities look like in there, and to describe it, it's kind of like tracking and tapping combined, so it wasn't even that hard to adapt. I've been going at it a while with a bunch of the same stuff, so I'm just gonna spare you the details. I did, however, started to watch other players on how they did on their missions, more specifically the top ranking players. I actually really enjoyed this feature because I got to look at professionals and see how they made their movements, and I can mimic them. Sadly, some missions were just never meant to be. Okay, for real though, that bouncing ball one sucked. Anyway, I leave the training and go over the grid shot ultimate to see how I can do. I thought I was doing good, and then I saw I got 20,000th 743rd place. Two thoughts were going through my head. The first was that if you're gonna put me that low, just don't rank me. And the second, what did first look like? I hate to say it, but that can never be me. At this point, I've been playing on Aim Labs for almost an hour and 30 minutes, so my eyes started to hurt, and that was my cue to get off. Overall, I really enjoyed the game.
After grabbing the fattest Chick-fil-A meal, we hopped back on Aim Labs to work on a few things. One of the key things I saw myself struggling with from day one was tracking. Well, I had some parts of tracking down, but the main issue was I wasn't good at tracking a lot of subtle movements. I personally decided to dedicate most of my time in tracking subtle movements, especially with smaller targets because they were hard to hit for me. I also took the time to look at the way I was holding my mouse. As a certified PC player, I'm pretty sure most people would consider their mouse placement to be one of the most important factors when it comes to aiming. I quickly found out that I was very comfortable with wrist aiming, which is really good, but as a low sense player, it does have its drawbacks. One reason why this is a drawback for us low sense players is because you're not really able to make very subtle movement changes with just aiming your wrist. Since your wrist is kind of limited in certain degrees, it's way easier just to use your whole arm to move to that certain pointed area instead of your wrist. Which is why most low sense players arm aim anyway, instead of wrist aim. I'm definitely not an expert on how you should aim. Everyone has their own preferences or their ideals on how they should aim. Speaking of aim, I saw that I was very inconsistent when it came to flicking moving targets. With that, I spent the rest of the time practicing my tracking on moving targets, really emphasizing the way I held my mouse and what degree I should move when it comes to arm or wrist aiming.
The session for day 3 started off no different than any other session for this game. I went back to work on tracking because it was my weakest category, and of course the missions were harder to go along with it. Of course, the more I played, the better I got at it, and that made me feel good. But if I had to complain about anything when it comes to tracking, it's that it hurt my eyes. Unfortunately for me, the targets would just get smaller and smaller, making the process all the more painful. On top of all that, they were getting faster too. In order to compensate, I had to learn how to make my aim steadier. And like I said before, the more I played, the better I got at it. Eventually, I got to the bonus missions, where the difficulty would be increased a little bit, and also leading me to the hardest mission I ever done in this game. Pong Track Season 2. As if the ball being small and sporadic wasn't hard enough, you also needed to hit it enough times to accumulate around 55,000 points, which is also around like 45% accuracy, I think. If you're spraying, I mean. My point being that this was the first time I ever failed a mission in this game. I was determined to not give up on the mission, and when in time after time, it got better and better as I kept failing. Of course, I couldn't avoid being frustrated though. This level was actually helping me getting the consistency I wanted in the earlier missions, and with one good attempt, I finally completed it. Oh my... Yes! Finally. Jesus Christ. How long have I been doing that one? I don't even know. I then moved on to improve my skills on some other missions. Well, missions that worked at least. Because of all the practice I had back in Pong, I had seen an improvement in my accuracy when it came to smaller targets. All of that didn't stop my eyes from hurting though. We then moved on to more human-like targets, which was pretty hard to get a headshot on, but I liked it because they were my favorite missions. I especially liked the one where you had to move around the corner to shoot other dummies, and those dummies disappeared, and you gotta move around the corner again to shoot more dummies. It was pretty fun. I decided to go back to tapping for a little bit to brush back up on it and see how I can do. And after playing for a little bit, I started to notice that I was actually getting fairly decent at aim labs. Oh, I think I am. After starting to feel like I was gonna get a headache soon, I decided to jump off for the day. Overall, I saw more improvement than usual.
I showed a lot of improvement on day 4. Not only was my accuracy getting better, my aim was also less shaky when it came to doing subtle movements. I also noticed that my tracking was getting way faster when it came to snapping on to certain targets. Guess all those days I didn't take a shower really paid off. I was also getting pretty good placements on the leaderboard for certain challenges. Even though there was only about 800 to 1,000 people doing those challenges, it still felt satisfying to be among the top of the leaderboard. I even got 3rd place on the Straight Shot Ultimate Challenge. Okay. I know my score doesn't officially say I got 3rd, but if you look here, my score is 174,330. After playing Aim Labs for a while, funny enough, we hopped on Warzone just to play it. And let's just say there were some pretty interesting moments. Oh, reload! No fucking hell! I died. I just dropped and hit the ground.
I need to come up there and meet the guy.
Man, I wasn't gonna shoot you, bro.
Yeah, there's some people with you.
Oh, don't go in here.
I don't want to move into your position.
The stupid LMG. No, what? It's that same team.
Day 5 was no different from when I did day 1 and day 3, apart from one factor. I didn't know that when I started the training programs, I started off on a free subscription, so when I joined back after the trial ended, I was kind of baffled. In other words, I wasn't able to use the training programs anymore, so I had to switch over to just the skill-based ones. Apart from that, my playthrough this time was no different than my playthroughs the previous times, except for the fact that the targets are, of course, smaller and faster. With all the precise aiming I had to do, my mouse movement became more consistent and steady than it ever was. Well, for the most part. During the previous days, I would also complain that my eyes hurt, but with the targets being way smaller this time, it did not help. This made some missions harder to do, and I wasn't able to stay as long as I wanted to, making me jump from mission to mission more grudgingly. Of course, I would still have some good moments here and there though. For this day, I didn't want to stay in Aim Labs for too long, so I decided to end it off with one of the things I love to end it off with most, Grid Shot Ultimate. I was playing in Grid Shot Ultimate for a good bit, but then I heard that Lucky was getting a good score in Strafe Shot Ultimate, and I knew I had to try and beat that, so I migrated over to Strafe Shot Ultimate. Needless to say, I think I was pretty good at that too. After getting 1st place, I decided to get off for the day.
Yeah, Day 6 was a little rough for me. I was making a lot of careless mistakes that I would have not made on the previous days. The main issue I was having today was just I was over flicking a lot of stuff. Just simple over flicks that shouldn't be a problem, but for some reason today it was a very big problem. I also noticed that my accuracy was completely dog shit compared to all the other days. This kind of frustrated me because I spent all those hours training our aim just for me to fuck it up when I'm not supposed to fuck it up. But hey, everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes you just need to collect your cool, see what you did wrong, and just go through it slowly, step by step, and see if you can get your momentum back. So that's what exactly I did. I went back to the drawing boards and really focused on how and why I was messing up on certain parts. To do that, I went back to Strafe Shot Ultimate, which is probably my favorite thing to do in this game. I personally like this because it works on two of my favorite things to do in FPS games: flicking and reaction time. Every game I play, I just love to flick people. And a lot of games I play anyway requires me to flick when I shoot to get those corner peaks. So yeah, I like flicking because of that. Now for reaction time, it's a little different. I like the feel of reaction when someone hits you and you gotta be able to turn around really fast and hit them. But anyway, I spent basically a majority of the time just doing these two things. And as I was doing them, my aim started to get better. I'm guessing I just needed to warm up first.
Today was going to be the final day that we were going to be inside Aim Labs and practicing to become better FPS shooters. For this day, I wanted to go check out the cognition category and got to try some pretty interesting missions like Audio Shot. Audio Shot had become one of my favorite missions because it was so unique compared to the other ones, so I played on that for a little bit. After having my fun with Audio Shot, I then moved on to 3-Shot Cognition, which is basically like Grid Shot, but the targets go away after a while. Oh, and of course they're also small, because why wouldn't they be? I also got first, so take that, you 3 other people. After that, there were actually a lot of levels that were extremely like Grid Shot, but you know, with me being me, I'm pretty good at those. Like how all life returns to the earth, I eventually found myself fighting dummies again, like a dummy, because I am a dummy. They were all literally the exact same missions from last time, and I was confused at how I got here again. But regardless, I did them anyway. I even changed it up a little bit on the last mission and started moving around so I can test out how good my aim is while I'm on the move. Honestly, now looking at it, I should have really worked on it sooner, but you know, the more I played, the better I got, like I always say. At this point, I was a little tired of doing missions, so I decided to go back to the home screen after I finished. While I was there, I noticed that there were tabs on the top part of the screen, and since I was curious, I went to go check them out. I was especially interested in the watch feature. After watching the video, I went into the mission to test how well I would do on it, and you know, well, bouncing balls and I don't really have a good relationship. I mean, I got better at it, sure, but I really hate those missions. It didn't take me long to move on. At this point of the playthrough, I was about ready to leave, but I couldn't leave without playing some form of Grid Shot, so I looked for one. I'll admit that the one where the ball shrinks made things way harder, especially when you let it shrink too much, but I got around it by just aiming for 2. With one last run, my consecutive days of playing Aim Labs have finally concluded. To put it simply, Aim Labs was great. Apart from making your account and signing in, it's not complicated to use Aim Labs at all. In fact, it's very beginner friendly, even giving newcomers a free trial on their training programs. Not only was the game simple, but it also had a lot more advanced content for you to view, including stuff like graphs, tips, and even recordings of other players who did stuff better than you. And let's not even mention the abundance of missions that are contained within this game. Of course, there was way more content and I never explored all of it, but if I had, this video would never end. Speaking of myself, I've seen the improvements I had over the days I've been playing Aim Labs. My aim and reaction time have improved, sure, but the main thing that I'm very proud about is how my consistency has gone from dog water to dog-ish water. Like I said, I'm very proud of it. Now that I have seen the potential of this game, I would definitely be going back to it sooner or later. Maybe I'll even try a subscription for a month. Anyway, that's enough of me yapping about Aim Labs. If you enjoyed our video, you should show us that you did by liking it, and subscribe to see what else we're up to. Regardless of what you do, I want to say thank you for watching our video, and stay safe out there. There are hackers about.